Okay, thank you so much to our panelists. That was a great conversation.
Tell your story.
Next up, we do have a presentation about the National Plan on Aging. So I don't know if you're all aware of that. We're all very proud that villages are in the state of California's Master Plan for Aging. And we are working alongside the Village to Village Network to make sure that villages get in that national plan. It's been a big benefit for us in California, and I think that would just blow the roof off things, right, Barbara? So today we have Leza Coleman. Leza is the Legislative Director for the California Commission on Aging. She's also a Village Movement California board member. And we have Erick Larson. Erick is the Executive Director of Village of Sonoma Valley. And they're going to lead us through some information on how we can make sure that our voices and our village members' voices are heard in getting us considered part of that master plan. So,
I don't know how to start this.
Oh.
I'm going to put it on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So take it away.
Thank you so much. What a joy to be here. I want to kick this segment off. Part of the discussion today, first off, this segment is a participation segment, and we're putting it in our beliefs into action. And so we're going to ask you to find your phone, because we're going to use our phones in this segment, okay? But I'd like to start by describing how I learned about the villages. I was working with another group of folks in Sonoma County, and we learned that that California created a master plan for aging. I couldn't find anybody doing anything with the master plan for aging in Sonoma County, and so because I've been in the industry with working with seniors for quite some time, I pulled a bunch of people together and to talk about what we might do in Sonoma County to implement the master plan for change, and through that process and unpacking the master plan, we saw down there listed in, I think it's number 64 of the third bold goal, they mentioned the village model. I didn't know what the villages were. So we then began to investigate that. That's how I learned what the villages are. I learned about it through the Master Plan for Aging in California. That's important in terms of what we're talking about today, because I am an example of what can happen by having villages listed in the Master Plan for Aging. The national government is following suit, recognizing that there's an opportunity to create a master plan, a national master plan for aging. And we feel it is important for a host of reasons that we could spend our entire time discussing, but I think you all understand. But it's important for us to be a part of that master plan nationally, as we have been in California. And so today is about that. This segment is about that right now. Anything you'd like to add?
Absolutely. So I'm Leza Coleman, and I am the Legislative Director of California.
It doesn't really, you have to hold it.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't.
Sorry.
Okay, you gotta go with it, right? So I'm the Legislative Director.
Turn it on. Push the button.
Look for the green.
All right, well, now we'll
There.
So for the people in the front row that already know my name, Leza Coleman with the Legislative Director of California Commission on Aging. And I found out about the villages because my in-laws were in the villages. And at the time my in-laws were in the villages, I was an executive director for the California Long-Term Care Ombudsman Association. I bet there's a handful of you in here that know what ombudsmen are, but there are more of you that do not. and can't say the word, and what I found out is the executive director for the California Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, trying to get funding at the state of California. Two things. No one funds something they don't know about. No one funds something that they don't hear people talking about. So my job was to go back to the local long-term care ombudsman programs and say, every one of you are walking around with the best chocolate chip cookies in the whole wide world. Your goal is to share your chocolate chip cookies with the world. What you don't know when you're offering that chocolate chip cookie to Eric, did he just eat and he's full? Is he allergic to chocolate? Is he saving his diet? He's saving his space because he's about to go out for a big dinner. You can't know any of those things. All you know is you have the world's best chocolate chip cookie. So I encourage you, as you sit there and as we are going to do this survey together, you are holding on to something. The villages are, in fact, that chocolate chip cookie, that there's a woman or a man who are in desperate need for that chocolate chip cookie. A lot of what I do with the California Commission on Aging is to press people on statistics. I always dress in bright colors because I say such dire statistics. Fastest growing segment of the homeless for the first time are older adults. The median age of homeless for the first time woman is my age, 59 years old. California has the largest number of older adults that live alone. California has the largest number of older adults that do not have family or children that live within 2 hours. California has the largest number of older adults that live in poverty. That's a lot of really sad, scary things. But the villages is the chocolate chip cookie that will make a difference in people's lives. And so as we are looking to do this survey together, the National Plan on Aging, we will be successful if, like how VMC got the California Master Plan for Aging to include the village model as a solution. We will be successful if we find the village model is included in the federal Master Plan for Aging. I encourage you. Do not hide your chocolate chip cookie because you are worried about someone being full. Do not hide your chocolate chip cookie because you are afraid that I might be allergic. That's not your job. Your job is simply to shout it out. This is something that works. It is cost effective. It brings joy. It combats loneliness. It addresses housing insecurity. Okay, so I'm preaching. So why don't we just get started then?
So what we're going to do today is we are actually going to take a survey that was created by the Village to Village network, and this survey is our way of creating or using our voice to help give feedback to the government to say we think the villages should be part of the Master Plan for Aging for the nation. So get your phone out. We're going to do the survey.
So you got to open your camera up so that you can use the QR code. For those of you that have never done it before, it's easy. And if anybody needs help, there's always the tech people around that can help. There are posters on the side of the wall that you can get up and use it. It's also on your handout. Oh, here it is.
We put it everywhere for you.
You open up your phone to your camera. You focus your camera on the QR code.
This will work a little better if we try to keep it.
And hold it closer. Sorry.
No, you're gonna have to tell me that all this time.
Oh, I was talking to Leza. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Oh, it went.
How are we doing so far? Everybody got it open? Did we find it?
I can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody can. QR codes. Patrick made it very easy for us. So So I want to talk a little bit about why this is important to do and what we're going to be doing. The survey that you have in front of you has lots of work.
Got it.
Too many things at once.
Yeah, people are still, and we're ahead of schedule, so don't worry. Does anyone need help?
Are you guys on? Have you opened the survey? Yeah, open the survey.
So please don't be shy about this. Your voice is important.
Yes, please raise your hand if you are not at the survey page.
All right. Got it?
Are you excited? Are you ready to change the scope of how the United States of America considers aging in the community?
Yes.
Well, that was a very mediocre response. Maybe by the end of the 8 questions, they will be enthusiastic.
Are you ready to fight?
Yes.
When we fight, we win.
Because you know what? If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So why do we I think I'm gonna start with why do we have to have a master plan for aging?
There you go.
Because in 5 years and 3 months, a quarter of our population will be older adults. But I don't think you really care. I don't think the politicians really care. What I think that they are worried about is in 5 years and 3 months, the oldest baby boomers turn 85. 85 is the year in which we historically utilize the most long-term care services at the highest cost. And every single day, one of you is talking to someone who finds themselves either as the 91-year-old needing help, or having a parent or a loved one who's 91 and we never thought that mom would need help. And I always think in the back of my head, she's 91, when did you think she was going to need help? But that's how we are. We just are failing to plan. And if we fail to plan, we are in fact planning to fail. So these 8 questions are helping to frame what do you believe as the holder of the world's best chocolate chip cookie the federal government needs to get in place so that we will be ready in 5 years and 3 months.
Okay. Question number 1.
Uh-oh. You broke it, Eric.
There we go.
Hit it twice. So what we've done here is we have listed a question. Maybe they need a little more input on how to. Do you have the questions in front of you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. That helps me. So this question, what do you like about the strategic framework for a national plan on aging? And we've given you a couple of different responses that you can fill in. We've made it easy so we don't have to do a lot of discussion. Any of these responses, you don't have to do all 3 of them. Any one of them will support what we're trying to accomplish in this practice today. And it depends on how much you like using your thumbs and how fast you are doing that. You may choose one of the longer responses or one of the shorter responses, or even edit it slightly. The goal is that we will try to use or insert the word village and villages and village model as often as possible in our responses. So the first one says, policymakers are engaging stakeholders.
That's something I'm excited about. If the federal government is going to ask you people that run villages, what do you need? So they're engaging you. So that's a good answer. So we'll probably have to let them have time to work on these. So maybe start raising your hands when you're done and you're ready for us to move on. But the point, you want to say villages as often as possible. If you had lots of time, you would have been able to read the 41 pages and know about what this is. You have the links, you can go back later on. But for today, we want your thumb on the scale. So why is it important, or what do you like about having a plan? And I would say, if you don't plan, you are going to fail.
Can you all read these?
Yeah. No, not everybody.
But there's also screens on the back too.
On the side.
And on the sides.
this is a participation thing, so yes,
No, no.
Oh, you're
Raise your
done.
hand when you're done.
you're ready?
Yeah.
So if we can get some hands when people are ready for us to move on to the next question. All right, I haven't got 50%. I'd kind of like to get 50%. Maybe another minute.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just curious, is it possible to read the entire plan and see how villages of the director?
The plan does not include the villages at this moment. The California, oh, I'm sorry, the California plan does. The California does, our former executive director, Charlotte, she was an Energizer bunny and she attended so many stakeholder meetings in the crafting of the California Master Plan for Aging that she was able to bring the name to such a point of recognition that it just seemed like an obvious solution to the people that were forming the master plan for California. So now we're looking that the same process is happening at the federal level. So this survey is preemptive of the creation of the master plan on aging at the federal level. So the federal one does not include the villages.
Yeah. These are the four domains that they talk about in the framework. I think that addresses the first two questions. Are sort of outlined, I think, in the following questions, but maybe if we just start telling everybody what the four domains are, that is the framework, because then that makes those answers make more sense.
Okay? Okay?
Okay. So I'll read those without my glasses. A national plan for aging is being developed to guide aging policies and initiatives across the United States with a strategic framework around key domains like age-friendly communities, coordinated housing, long-term services, and integrated healthcare. So I'll go back and I'll say those again. The four key domains are age-friendly communities, coordinated housing, long-term services, and integrated healthcare. So if you think about that in your own life or in the lives of people that you know who are in the aging process, age-friendly communities, look at what that offers. Coordinated housing, this is a big issue for people. Long-term services, huge issue. And integrated healthcare, big issues. So they're really addressing the fundamental key areas of life for those of us who are in the aging process.
And I would argue that the villages fit in all four. I don't want us to just be pillared in just one, which is what happened in California's master plan. The villages aren't listed in the 5 bold goals, they're listed in only 1. And I would argue that that's short-sighted, because you do address housing, you do address healthcare, you do address all aspects of it. And so we want to have the word villages so that the algorithm, when it's going through the surveys, it is, oh, there's that village, oh, there's that village.
How are we doing? Did that help?
Okay.
Great.
Yesterday, the survey, the link to the survey, which is, thank you, West Health, it's a survey either individually or as an organization. So mind you, if you are an ED of a organization, you can take the survey twice because you're doing it on behalf of the organization. There are key components on each of these. I mean, is this going right to the survey, or is this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you know, Leza and Eric said, mentioned villages. All the 4 domains are really crucial. I will point out that SSI, Social Security, is a pivotal part of the first domain. And the financial and economic success of SSI impacts housing, it impacts healthcare, it impacts all the other domains. So it's super important for you all to do this.
Question?
You can do either or. If you're a fast typer, type it all in. They're not saying no. If you look at the written sheet that Patrick made really eloquent answers. They're beautiful, but I just figured thumb texting wasn't going to allow for long sentences.
That's assuming we use our thumbs and not just our index.
Well, yeah. It is better that we simply try, and all you do is wrote village. If you only wrote village in 8 questions, that is better than not having done it at all.
Yes.
My question is, so when it was sent to us by Village to Village Network, the national organization, I was curious if we know, are they engaging a lobbyist for this issue on all of the villages we have?
Barbara,
I feel like this would be a really
Barbara,
good,
will you introduce?
opportunity. This is the
And
ideal
restate the
use
question.
of a lobbyist for nonprofits, so I'm just curious.
Okay, so my name is Barbara Sullivan. I'm the director of Village to Village Network. And no, we have not engaged a lobbyist, but in our role, and as we go forward, and I'll talk about it a little bit tomorrow, we've been invited to the table several times this month. One by ACL, Administration on Community Living, 2 days ago, where we had our own private listening session with them. As a member of the leading Council of Aging Organizations, which is comprised of about 25 or 30 aging organizations, inclusive of AARP, National Council on Aging, American Society on Aging. These are powerhouse folks, and we put together a rebuttal. And in that, what we felt, and AARP led the charge because they are, the lead person with LCAO right now, on what we feel should be in the framework. So yes, we have, and I should mention, I'm also on the National Board of Leading Age. So we have compiled all this information, and yes, the villages are mentioned in our rebuttal back to them. But the answer is no, we did not, we are still a small organization, but we're mighty. And I think we're being recognized for the first time in many, many years. So this survey is helpful, and that's why it's important to get that name Village out.
Let's move on to the second question. The first question, really, we learned how the process works. So let us know when you have completed your answer for the second question.
So maybe don't put in the complicated strategic part. Just what should be added to a national plan on aging? What is going to make it so that you age with dignity, increased autonomy? What is that?
Yes.
I think they're just saying they're
I'm
done.
wondering, the third bullet on the screen is include the village model like the California plan. I'm concerned about saying like the California plan because you just told us that it's only included in 1 of 4 domains. So
There you go.
You could add, in all of the domains,
Just include the village model, include the village movement?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Good point. Because that could be kind of considered offensive on the DC folks. They kind of get a little annoyed with some of us Californians because we think we're all that. So,
and we are.
yeah, we kind of are, but.
How's it going? How are we doing on these? I've never seen so many tops of heads.
We can have hands when you guys are ready for us to go to the third.
We're getting there.
Because we're on our third question, but we only have 15 minutes left and we have 5 more to go. So I want to be cognizant of our time that we don't go too far over.
Can we move to the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Coordinated housing and supportive services. What do you need in your home to live independently?
and you may have your own answer on this, but we've given some suggestions.
I'd really like to have a picture of this, just so we could send it to some youth. Like, all these older adults are mesmerized by their cell phones.
Actually, there's a byline there. It's a good article.
Older adults can use technology.
And activists.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting
These are
active.
the original activists.
Yeah. We did it in the 70s too. How are you all doing?
I think this one is the one that write more. I think that we might have hit a nerve on this one. What do you need to live independently in your home?
Yes, sir.
You might want to remind people they can dictate.
Oh, you
I
can
don't know that
dictate.
you could in this large of a room.
Yeah.
I've been doing it.
Oh, and it's been working?
You hold it close to your mouth with it covered and it won't pick up what you guys are saying. Yeah, it works.
Oh, we'll have to try that on the next one. Just remember, it doesn't matter if it spells it incorrectly as long as it says the word village. Because I just want the algorithm to say village, 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 village.
Sure, that's what it's gonna do.
No one's reading these, by the way. This is gonna be done by the computers.
AI.
AI is going to simply be collecting all this information, and they're gonna do bubbles and say, well, okay, this is something that's repeated a lot, and that's gonna be a big word. And this is a word concept that's been repeated a couple of times.
Yeah, villages came up 150 times.
Why not write just village 10 times for each area?
Depends on how they're processing the information, how it's programmed and processed too.
I don't know, that's not a bad idea.
We close? We're moving to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Age-friendly communities, connecting with people and opportunities that support your health and well-being. Villages are the consummate age-friendly community. Came in the middle.
Does the village model say anything about providing transportation for isolated older adults? Can we just add that in or not?
Sure, add that in, yeah.
Getting close? Getting close?
I'm done.
Okay, moving to the next one. Number 5,
access to long-term services? Do you have enough support to live independently in your home or community?
This is going to be the most exciting video of the entire session.
I just want to suggest a phrase I've also started including in saying that villages have a proven track record
Oh,
in
great.
this area or that area.
She's adding the phrase, villages have a proven track record in ... Getting close? Okay, move to the next one.
Aligned healthcare and supportive services. What health and social services support your health, well-being, and functioning?
I think we're getting close, and I want to just thank them for doing this. I do this for a living. Like, Joe and I are at the Capitol a lot. And one of the things that we know when we're doing our work, our advocacy work, or if you're calling into the governor's office or you're calling into a legislator to say, please vote for this is important. What they know is every time a person picks up the phone or sends in an email or sends in a text, for every one person that takes the time, there's 1,000 people that agree with that. So can you imagine, that's what, 10,000 people are benefiting because 100 people here today are taking the time to put that into a survey. And then, just give you a heads up, we're gonna encourage you to take this home because you got 2 days until the survey closes. And I know every one of you has a neighbor you have a friend, you have a son or daughter that's worried about you, or you have a network of villages that you could email this out to. So then it wouldn't be 10,000 voices, it might be 100,000 voices. And can you imagine what the federal government would do if 100,000 voices identified that this is the best chocolate chip cookie? Do you think they'd believe it? I think they'd believe it.
Okay, we're moving on to the next one. And this is basically an open one. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Villages, 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 villages.
It's cost effective, it's replicatable, they're trusted in their community. They saved my life, you fill in the blank.
Not only is it cost effective, but it's a low cost solution.
And also, you know, if you think about it, in 5 years, when those 85-year-old baby boomers, you can't build a hospital in 5 years. From concept to buying the land, to surveying the land, to building it, opening it, and hiring it. You can't get a single hospital done in 5 years. But I am absolutely confident that 200 villages could be established in the next 5 years. So we have to think about what can be done and not worrying about all the things that we didn't get done in time for 2030.
On the conference page of the VMC website, the QR code and all the information, the questions are all listed there for you. And so we've tried to make this as simple and portable as possible so that you can give it to your friends and your neighbors and solicit their participation. This is a test. This is a pilot program. We can do this more. And this kind of doing these sorts of things in this kind of an environment, you can do it we can all do it in our individual villages. And by doing this, we become a strong voice. And we act together, we are collaborating. And to me, it feels really good. I love doing this sort of thing. It was fun to watch all of you doing all this. What did it feel like doing that? Go ahead.
This feels like a cognitive improvement test.
Feels like what?
Trying to figure out how to get stuff.
He said that it feels like a cognitive improvement test. How do you feel? But you understand the impetus behind this and what we're trying to accomplish. And you have just been a part of a pilot program that can be very meaningful all across this nation. And if we support one another in doing this, it's much easier to do it than to, in a group like this, than to read 41 pages and say, okay, what do I really think, and let me write. It just doesn't get done. So this is what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you very, very much. And despite the silence in the room, it was very exciting.
And to use this, just before you go, we're about to approach an election season, right? We have all of these assembly members and senators that are all going. You have just engaged in systemic advocacy. It wasn't that painful, it wasn't that hard, it wasn't that scary, and I would guess that the vast majority of you were successful in getting that survey in. So use that same feeling of empowerment and go and invite all of the elected or the officials, the candidates, invite them to your village and ask them the question, what's on your platform to address older adults? It doesn't matter if they win or lose, they've got the conversation going. And I know it works because I was a part of a group that got to speak with the candidates for governor when Gavin Newsom was running. I wasn't in the group that got to talk to Gavin Newsom. I was in a group that talked to someone else. But within a week, her campaign had changed to include the expression older adults on her page. And 2 weeks later, then candidate Gavin Newsom added a whole section on older adults. Why? Because he fell in love with older adults and he's impassioned for them? Maybe, hopefully, yes. Or maybe because he's a skilled politician and he saw his competitor had tagged in on something that had a pulse to it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to encourage you, try systemic advocacy by inviting bipartisan candidates out to your office to see what you're doing. Send them your newsletter. It can't hurt and it might help.
Okay, thank you so much. A couple of announcements. First, I just want to say this is why we formed Village Movement California, right? Because our voices have so much more power when they join together. Individually, we cannot make the impact that we can as a group. So thank you all so much for being here and for doing this. It is break time, and just a reminder,